Saxon Algebra 1, Lesson 7. In this lesson, we will look more closely at the concept of the opposite of a number, and we will simplify more difficult notations. We can use the thought opposite of a number to help us understand and simplify expressions such as the opposite of -2, the opposite of the opposite of -2, the opposite of the opposite of the opposite of -2, and so forth. We begin by graphing the number 2 and the number -2. From the figure, we see that -2 lies on the opposite side of the origin from 2 and is exactly the same distance from the origin. Thus, we can think of +2 as being the opposite of -2 and -2 as being the opposite of +2. Now consider -2. The first minus means opposite. So -2 is the opposite of -2 and is therefore on the opposite side of the origin as -2. But that's the same place as +2, so the opposite of -2 is +2. Next, consider -2. We can read this as the opposite of the opposite of -2. The opposite of -2 is +2. And the opposite of that is -2. So the opposite of the opposite of -2 is -2. What's going on here is that each time you encounter a minus sign in front of a numeral or parentheses, the resulting number switches to the opposite side of the origin. If we start with 2, that's +2. If we place a minus sign, we have -2. And if we place another minus sign, we're back to +2. And if we place another minus sign, we're back to -2. So if there are an even number of minus signs in front of a numeral, the value is positive. And if there are an odd number of minus signs, the value is negative. Simplifying more difficult notations. Complicated expressions, such as what you see here, can be simplified by using algebraic addition and the concept of opposites. We begin by noting that algebraic addition of 3 numbers is indicated. We emphasize this by enclosing the numbers that are to be added. The number in the first enclosure is positive 4 because two minuses give you a positive. In the second is negative 2. And in the third is positive 6. Again, an even number of minuses is a positive. So the sum of these three numbers is 8. When subtraction is involved, we first rewrite the problem as a sum. For example, the following expression involves some subtraction. Here it is. We are going to write those parts as plus the opposite of what follows. Then we enclose each number being added. And we simplify within each enclosure. Notice the first number is positive 2 because two minuses give us a positive. The second is negative 5. The third is negative 9 because three minuses give us a negative. And the fourth is positive 8. Two minuses give us a positive. Once we've done this, we add the numbers and we get negative 4. This is the end of Lesson 7. Your assignment is to do problem set 7 on pages 35 and 36 of your book.